thank you so much, and I'm so excited to have all of you here tonight. This is a special event, and while I wish we could be together in person, it still feels like a family reunion looking at all of you on screen. And I don't know about you, when I find myself in a room full of public school people, and Jim Hunt's there too, I know I am in the right place tonight. So I am so glad that you are all here online with us, and we've got a wonderful program lined up for you. Stars of Education is our annual event where we celebrate and spotlight those who make this community and Wake County Public Schools the very best in the country. Tonight, you're going to hear from teachers, coaches, band directors, business leaders, community leaders, a phenomenal public health leader, and of course, a 4-term governor of North Carolina. Now, Stars of Education is our chance to gather and celebrate our public schools, our teachers, school leaders, and parents for how all of you have navigated this most extraordinary 18 months and counting. Now, during tonight's program, in addition to using the chat function here on Zoom, we also encourage you to engage on Twitter using the hashtag WakeEdStars, and to use the chat function here to cheer on and celebrate your favorite moments tonight. It looks like JR may have the biggest cheering squad so far, but we'll see who can catch up with him. Stars of Education is indeed a celebration. It is also Wake Ed Partnership's single largest fundraiser each year, and we could not do it without those sponsors. Our presenting sponsor this year is Pinnacle Financial Partners. Now, Pinnacle stepped up last year and again this year when we really needed it, given all the challenges of a pandemic. So it is my pleasure to introduce Greg Winkler from Pinnacle Financial Partners. Greg?
Well, thank you, Keith, and good evening, everyone. On behalf of the team here at Pinnacle Financial Partners, welcome to the Stars of Education. Pinnacle is a small, full-service community bank where we still know you and call you by name, answer our phones, and we love to meet when we safely can. And we are also pursuing excellence every day, just like Wake County school system. So I'm so honored to be here with all of you to celebrate the Stars of Education, and more importantly, the community that supports Wake County Public Schools over the last year. I know we all have a story around a teacher that made an impact in our lives. For me, that was Mrs. Hart. I remember my 3rd grade math teacher. I was always in a hurry to be the first one done with my math quizzes. I was focused on speed, not quality. Mrs. Hart kept telling me over and over again, check, check, and double check. When I finally listened to her, my grades started to improve, and not just math, but all of them. I honestly think she's the only reason I made it through grade school. I find myself today still hearing that voice, check, check, and double check. So thank you, Mrs. Hart, and all of our Wake County teachers for the lasting impact that you have on our students by caring about them and challenging them every day. This evening, you're going to hear from honorees and presenters talking about moving forward together. This past 18 years has been 18 months, seems like years, has been very challenging for all of us. And certainly nobody's felt that effect more than our schools. I've just been so impressed with how everybody has learned to embrace change, flexibility, and step up to the challenge to the benefit of our students. Our thoughts and prayers continue to lift up Superintendent Moore, the Wake County School Board, and other leaders as they continue to make courageous and tough decisions over the year to come. We all know that education and talent is one of the top reasons of economic success here in Wake County, and having great schools is the secret sauce. Having organizations like Wake Ed, where we can collectively come together to support our stakeholders, is important. So thank you, Keith, your incredible staff, your outstanding board for their passion, their impact that they continue to make. So thank you all for joining. Back to you, Keith. It's time to celebrate.
Right. Thank you so much, Greg. Pinnacle has really been a terrific partner for us. But in addition to our presenting sponsor, we could not deliver all the programs and initiatives for teachers and students that Wake Ed does year-round without all of our sponsors. This year, Delta Dental and SAS are sponsoring our top 2 awards tonight, the Vernon Malone Friend of Education Award and the Bob Bridges Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you, Delta Dental and SAS, for helping bring us together tonight. Now, tonight we'll induct 6 new members into the Wake County Public Schools Hall of Fame, and I want to thank our 2021 Hall of Fame sponsors. Curie, the Maynard Family Foundation, PNC Bank, Wells Fargo, and Wegmans. Our public school champion sponsors tonight are Alfred Williams and Company, Duke Energy, Paradox Consulting Partners, the Raleigh Chamber, Steel Fab, and Town Bank. Thank you to our public school champion sponsors. Our honor roll sponsors tonight are A.J. Fletcher Foundation, Amplify, Capital Broadcasting Company, Coastal Federal Credit Union, Lenovo, the McCullen family, NC State College of Education, Participate Learning, Pierce Group Benefits, Sarah Quinlan, and Rosemary and Smedes York. Thank you all. And finally, thanks to all of our Booster Club sponsors who supported tonight's event. You can find a list of all of our event sponsors in our virtual event program. So let's give all of our sponsors a virtual round of applause. Now, as I mentioned, this event is our single largest fundraising event each year. We simply could not do what we do for our schools without you. Just this past year, Wake Ed's Families and Schools Together initiative, or FAST, which is a partnership with the YMCA, Boys and Girls Clubs, Marbles, and many others, provided safe remote learning pods for more than 2,000 families every day last fall at 46 sites around Wake County. We also served more than 50,000 meals and distributed $1.5 million in financial assistance to families. Even though we were forced to switch to mostly virtual, our summer STEM program welcomed more than 200 Wake County teachers as they engaged with 40 companies over the past 2 summers. This included immersions and hands-on STEM activities that our amazing teachers took back to their classrooms and worked on year-long project-based learning lessons with their students. Partners Read, our literacy program that focuses on struggling readers, was finally back in the classrooms just this week. Before COVID, we had more than 300 volunteers in 55 schools across Wake County, helping first graders one-on-one to read and also build their own home library with 20 brand new books. Our Career Conversations video series launched last year, and that highlights all the amazing career pathways right here in Wake County. But we're not just stopping at videos. We're going to be working with Wake County Public Schools students this coming year to provide real exposure to jobs and workplaces and support their transition. And then last, I want to mention Tools for Schools. Wake Ed Partnership has always bridged the gap between school and work, and also the gap between our student and teacher needs, with which what is made available through what is too often inadequate public funding from the General Assembly. Our newest project is called Tools for Schools. We're going to be opening up a place where teachers can shop for free and get all their supplies and materials they need for their classrooms and their students. I'm going to show you a way to help us do that later today. Bottom line is, your dollars, your engagement is what helps us do all of these meaningful things for students, teachers, and schools in Wake County. So thank you for your support. Speaking of Wake County Public Schools, I'm going to move to the next part of the program. It is now my distinct honor to introduce our wonderful Wake County School Superintendent, Kathy Moore.
Good afternoon, good evening. Hello to all that are out there. It is my distinct privilege to be here this evening to help honor those who have helped make the Wake County Public School System a district that is seen by many as the gold standard of what a public education system should be. I say that knowing that it's obvious that our school system is perhaps very different than the district built by previous honorees in the WCPSS Hall of Fame. At the same time, one of the many things I learned during the pandemic is how quickly others look to Wake County when they look for quality. Because of the dedication and skill of our employees, we became a model for school districts across North Carolina and throughout the country during the pandemic. I can't tell you how many times I saw my colleagues in other states emulate what we were doing. Everything from virtual learning resources to health and safety guidelines, the program frameworks, the words of explanation, even the page layouts in some of our documents, all of it. The group that we are honoring tonight and those honored in past years helped set that standard. They helped develop a culture that expects excellence. It's a culture that also makes it acceptable to acknowledge flaws while demanding they be addressed so we can remain excellent. The brilliance, resilience, and dedication this requires have allowed us to weather some long and difficult stretches since March 2020. It has also revealed truths that somehow feel familiar and unique at the same time. For example, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, if you ever wondered whether schools were important to our communities, that question was answered countless times with a resounding yes during the pandemic. But there's a newfound appreciation for the many ways that public schools serve as an indispensable foundation for our families, for our economy, and for the overall well-being of our community. The pandemic also underscored the importance of every role in our district. Every employee's work is critically important to our mission of graduating productive citizens ready for college or career, whether that employee works in a classroom or not. And the pandemic highlighted structures and processes that often do not work for some students. These problems, in most cases, existed prior to our shift to remote learning, but we now see them in stark relief. If we are to remain committed to every student, every day, we must learn from our past mistakes, change our approach as needed. Tonight's honorees understand that better than anyone. The same should be said about Wake Ed as an organization. Wake Ed has also changed over the years, but its commitment to excellent public schools for all students has never wavered. We greatly appreciate our partnership, which now spans decades, and we look forward to future collaborations. Against that backdrop, I would like to introduce tonight's first honorees into the WCPSS Hall of Fame. In 2013, Wake Ed Partnership created the Wake County Public School System Hall of Fame to honor outstanding educators, Wake County Schools alumni, and community leaders who make a difference for our students and schools. Each year, 6 new Hall of Fame members are inducted in the categories of arts, athletics, business, community service, education, and entrepreneurship. I know each of this year's honorees, and they are truly dedicated, inspiring leaders. Now, I get the honor of introducing the first 2 tonight, both who also happen to be wonderful educators from the Wake County Public School System. The first is Broughton High School's longtime band director and fixture in the Wake arts and music scene, J.R. Richardson. J.R. has dedicated more than 43 years to teaching and advocating for arts education in Wake County. His legacy as the director of the Broughton High School Band, 20 years of service on the Theater in the Park Board of Directors, and his most recent role, teaching at Underwood Magnet Elementary School, are just some of JR's notable contributions to arts education in Wake County. The second is Coach Milton Center. More than 600 wins, 4 state championships. Milt served as head baseball coach at Fuquay Varina High School for 43 years. And today, there are thousands of students from Fuquay Varina and across Wake County through the Central Carolina Scholastic Summer Baseball League that he co-founded that point to Coach Center for his leadership and guidance. And now let's get the party started.
Hi, my name is Gabe Edmonston and I'm a senior at Broughton High School. I'm here interviewing J.R. Richardson because he is the winner of the Wake County Hall of Fame, and I had the privilege of working with him when I was younger with a Christmas Carol made by Theater in the Park. Talk to us about how what you do nurtures the whole child.
Students sometimes come to school just for the arts. Sometimes they come to school just for academics. Sometimes they come to school just for athletics. But every student in the school can take an arts class, and trying to give them the opportunity to be the best they can be in finding their niche in a school. And from those arts classes, you learn to work together. And there have been tons of surveys through the years that have shown that Students who take arts classes have the higher GPAs because of the things they do in an arts class of working together and working on a common goal and trying to solve problems and everything you do. Because every day when you're in any type of arts class, for instance, a band class, you're doing math because you're having to count rhythms. You're doing somewhat of a PE because you're having to learn how to breathe. You're doing science because you're having to listen to sound waves. And it just goes on and on. And because of arts classes and giving students the opportunity to be involved, it helps build a bigger school. As I've always said, there's 3 A's in the school. There's athletics, there's academics, and the arts. And if you don't have one of those areas, then your school is not a complete school from top to bottom. And so my one goal in my entire career was always to give students an opportunity to belong. Every student in a school has a niche, and they're trying to find that niche to where they feel comfortable and how they can contribute to the school, but also make themselves a better person.
Hi, my name is Jarius Copany, a rising senior at Millbrook High School, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Milton Center, a dedicated educator and a baseball coach for more than 43 years. Talk to us about what you do that nurtures the child as a whole.
Well, I'm here for athletics, but honestly, the further I got into my career, the more I really enjoyed the classroom. I got into teaching to be a coach. And then as I went along, I found out, I think that I really love teaching as much as, if not more than the coaching. The interaction with kids, to be able to have an impact day to day with kids in a classroom. And honestly, I consider, for me, the practice field a classroom. I'm a real big proponent of interscholastic athletics. I really believe that athletics and education are one and the same, and I tried to treat it as such. I love the idea of athletics and school going together. I think it's a really big deal.
What is it like having your players in your classroom?
I wanted them to see me as more than just a guy out on a field that was teaching a game. I had another side to me that I thought was important, and that was an academic side. I wanted them to see that you could be a coach and you could be a good teacher and you could be a smart person all at the same time. You weren't just an athlete, you were a student athlete, and I was not just a coach, I was a teacher coach, and I thought that was important.
What advice would you give to our audience about how we can support public education as we all move forward through this pandemic together?
It takes a village to do everything. First, you got to have parental support, and you got to have good community support with businesses and organizations, like Wake Ed, who are there to help, and fill in the gaps when funding and stuff is not there. But I think it takes everybody in education.
Those wins are nice, the championships are really nice, but in the end, it's about relationships. It's about people. It's about all the kids, the adults, the parents, and the people that you were able to be around and with over the years that I think I'll probably remember more than anything else. My career was very rewarding. I enjoyed it. I have no regrets. I would do it all over again. The people that I've met along the way, it's just been a blessing for me.
That's terrific. Well, thank you and congratulations to you both. So well deserved. And I'm watching the chats. I hope you're able to see those. But you've got some players, you've got some former band members, you got parents on here. And I think it's to think about how many thousands of students the two of you combined have reached. So again, congratulations. Wonderful to have you here tonight, and certainly a big part of the Wake County Public School Hall of Fame. So thank you so much. Congratulations. Now I get to introduce our next speaker, Jennifer Pride from Heritage Middle School, who's going to tell you about our next two Hall of Fame inductees.
Good evening, everyone. I am Jennifer Pride, 8th grade language arts teacher at Heritage Middle School, and I am proud to represent my colleagues as the Wake County Public School System 2021-2022 Teacher of the Year. This past year, my fellow educators have made the shift from in-person instruction to virtual and back, all while continuing to make a difference. Currently, they arrive at schools significantly earlier each day to fulfill the increasing demand for carpool monitors and to keep up with email correspondence and grading. They cover classes for colleagues during their planning time because there are sometimes not enough substitutes to cover absences. They stay significantly later after school, providing supervision to students as there are not enough bus drivers to cover routes, sometimes delaying pickup to up to an hour after the school day, the unofficial ninth period of the day, as we like to call it. I admire my peers' innovation in utilizing that time to help students with homework and meeting the social and emotional needs. On top of all of that, my colleagues show up for sports, after-school clubs, and programs without missing a beat. They are all stars of education. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the next two Hall of Fame inductees. In business, Mr. Gordon Brown, and community service, Mr. Greer Webb. Gordon Brown is the Chief Financial Officer of Alfred Williams and Company. He has a long track record of service and support of Wake County children and schools through his leadership with the Boys and Girls Club, serving Wake County and Wake Ed Partnership. Moorhead Kane Scholar and co-founder of Young Americans Protest, Greer Webb got his start as a community organizer at Sanderson High School, where, in response to the Parkland school shooting in 2018, he organized a student-led statewide town hall to prevent gun violence in schools. Greer is also the co-founder of student-led nonprofit NC Town Hall, and in 2020 was appointed to Governor Cooper's Juvenile Justice Planning Committee. Now, let's hear more about these two phenomenal nominees.
Hi, I'm Callie Oxford, a senior at Broughton High School, and today I have had the honor of talking with Gordon Brown, who is the business inductee into the Hall of Fame this year. Tell us about what drives your servant leadership spirit, and who has influenced you, and how can you pass that on?
Public education has always been a big ticket item for my family, something we've always been very passionate about, that and helping at-risk children. So those two things, I said, I got to get involved in those. And so that's what led me down the path that I started on by doing work with Wake Education Partnership and the Boys and Girls Club. I have a sister, though, that taught in the Wake County public school system for 30 plus years. And so I got to see what she did a lot. And I saw how passionate she was about her kids, and not her personal kids, but her student kids. And she treated them like her own children. She did things that I don't think parents ever realize that teachers do, how much they care. And she would, go to their sporting events. She would go to their theater events, whatever it was. She would go to those events to show that she supported the kid. She would go to their house if they needed help, drop things off at their house if they were falling behind. She would reach out all the time to do more to help them. And so she's just one of many teachers, obviously, that does that type of work. And so I've been driven by the fact that I want to do whatever it is to show those teachers in our community that we as business leaders care about them, care about what they do, and respect them as professionals that they are.
I'm Liz Dressler, a 34-year veteran of the Wake County Public School System in arts education. I had the great honor of leading over 500 arts teachers for those years and was inaugurated into the very first Hall of Fame class. Today, I have the great honor to interview our youngest member in community service, Greer Webb. What leads you to this sort of servant leadership kind of mindset?
I have this inherent love for people, lifting people up, defending them, learning more about them, hearing their stories. And so that's always called me into leadership. I've had great mentors. I have great family members that have always encouraged me to use my voice and to speak up for positive change. And so that love for people is really what drives me, and especially for young people, those younger than I am, where I was a few years ago, just being able to encourage them and motivate them, to allow them to understand that as people, as future leaders, that they have a role, that they are important in society. And so that really drives everything that I do.
And what advice would you give our audience members about how we can support public education as we all move forward together?
There are plenty of opportunities for business leaders to get involved and use those skills that they have as leaders to help in the classroom. And so I encourage leaders to reach out to our principals, system principals, whatever, to find opportunities to get into the classroom and help the kids.
How can we help you continue to do the good work that you're doing? And what advice would you give us as we try to follow in your footsteps?
I like to say that anyone can be a social justice warrior, I like to call us. Anybody can be an advocate for positive change that I mentioned earlier. And so specifically to the young people that may be watching or listening in, I say be courageous, be bold, be willing to raise your voice. I know it is super frustrating sometimes. It almost seems like we are ignored as younger folks, but old adults and older generations are actually looking to us and have their eyes on us to be those future leaders I mentioned earlier. And so it's super important that we are using our voices. I mean, young people have always been on the front lines of social justice movements, whether that's the civil rights movement or the anti-war movement. It's really significant to our audience members and young people in particular that we use the powers that we do have to unite, to hold people accountable, and to really create a roadmap for the future that is equitable, that is inclusive, and is one that really prioritizes and values all backgrounds and perspectives and lifts our young people.
Congratulations, Gordon and Greer. So well deserved. It's so great to see both of you. Now, I've had the good fortune of knowing Gordon for many years. We both got that gray hair going. You know, we worked together on the Boys and Girls Clubs board, and leaders like him make Wake County better. And as far as Greer, I know him too, and I definitely feel better about the future knowing that there are young people like Greer Webb ready to lead. I saw Rod. I know you're proud, you and your wife are proud of Greer, and we're certainly proud to induct him into the Hall of Fame tonight. So congratulations, Greer and Gordon. Now I want to introduce you to a great school leader, Dr. Elena Ashburn. Dr. Ashburn is not just Wake County's Principal of the Year, she is also North Carolina's Principal of the Year. Elena?
Good evening, everyone. I am Elena Ashburn, the very proud principal of Needham B. Broughton Magnet High School. It is truly my honor to be with you all tonight for this incredible annual event as we honor champions of public education in our community. What a year it has been for public school education. In the past year and a half, all of us, students, school staff, parents, and the community have rallied together in what has been some incredibly challenging times. But it has been in the midst of all of those challenges, both those challenges that have come and gone and the challenges still ahead of us, that we have reaffirmed the transformational power of a high quality public school education. We know, perhaps now more than ever before, that our public schools are a critical component of a healthy, happy, and productive community. We also know, perhaps now more than ever before, that it takes all of us working together to support our public schools. And that isn't just students, their families, and educators, but partners throughout the community, like you all, who work to lift up our schools and ensuring that our kids receive an excellent education. And of course, tonight's honorees certainly exemplify what it means to be partners who champion the successes of our students, our educators, and our public schools. Now, it is truly my honor to introduce the next two Wake Ed Partnership Stars of Education Hall of Fame inductees, Victoria Scott Miller and my friend, Muriel Summers. Victoria Scott Miller is the founder of Liberation Station Bookstore, an independent pop-up bookstore amplifying Black voices in children's literature. Since 2019, the mobile store has set up shop throughout Central North Carolina and is currently working with local businesses to install permanent libraries for children of color throughout the state. In a short time, Liberation Station has garnered national attention as booksellers continue to promote literacy in unconventional spaces and engineer creative programming to ensure that all Black children are seeing themselves and being seen. Muriel Summers is a pioneer in education. In addition to serving as an educator and award-winning principal for more than 38 years, Muriel partnered with Franklin Covey to create the globally implemented Leader in Me program, integrating Covey habits and leadership development into all aspects of school and learning. As principal of A.B. Combs Leadership Magnet Elementary School, Muriel created the first leadership elementary school in the nation, a model currently being used by more than 3,000 schools worldwide. And now let's hear from our 2 Hall of Fame inductees.
Hi, I am Sophie Flynn, and I'm a senior in the IB program at Broughton High School. I have the honor of sitting here today with the Hall of Fame honoree, Victoria Scott Miller. As the honoree in entrepreneurship, you give us great hope for the future as you foster skills of literacy and collaboration among our young people. Can you tell us a little bit about what motivated your focus?
I think what motivated my focus into becoming an entrepreneur, because originally that was never on my radar, was to fill a void that I felt needed to be filled. Children of color are historically underrepresented in literature, and having 2 sons, 2 Black young sons that are looking to literature, looking to books, looking to us in order to become their fullest selves and to arrive in their power, it was important to create a space that would give that to a community of children that hadn't had that opportunity.
Hi, I'm Isabella Clark, and I'm a sophomore at Broughton. I attended A.B. Combs from kindergarten to 5th grade. I like to call Miss Summers my school mom. I spent plenty of time in her office learning speeches and preparing for leadership days, and I'm just very thankful to be a part of her legacy at Combs and to experience firsthand what that meant. As the honoree in education, you give us great hope for the future as you foster skills of literacy and collaboration among our young people. Talk to us about what has motivated your focus.
What has always motivated me in all of those arenas is bringing out the best in our students, regardless of what their gifts and talents are. It's really important that a child knows their area of strength, because once they do, the areas of weakness don't seem as great. So focusing on what a student can do and building from those strengths is something that I have prided myself on, as well as the staff at Combs over the years.
As a young child, would you have been able to see yourself where you are now?
I think I had this vivid imagination. I remember being 4 years old and realizing that penguins could not fly. So I drew balloons on their wings with the hope that they would elevate in some capacity. So I never knew what to envision of my life as a child. I just knew that it would involve creativity. I knew that it would involve freedom, and that I would be limitless.
I'm Ruth Steidinger. I am a retired Wake County Public Schools educator of 32 years. So I've known Muriel for 24, 25 years. I've known her as a parent because my children went to her school. And I've also known her as a colleague. And I must say that she is one of the most visionary, courageous leaders I know. And I'm extremely proud of her receiving this Star of Education Award. If you were to summarize in a one sentence or a couple as what you would want the folks to remember Muriel Summers by in the world of education, what would it be?
Well, first of all, I would want to be remembered as a good mother. A mother to my own children, but also to those thousands of other children that I tried to pour my love into as well. So the legacy I hope I would leave with my students is that no one defines you but you.
What I do remember, however, are the teachers in my life that gave me permission to be brilliant. And that is the type of work that I wanted to be in. I wanted to make room for the brilliance of children that look like me, the brilliance of children that look like our children, so that they understand that this is a that we're normalizing their stories, that we're normalizing their narratives, and that they're not based in trauma, that they're not based in struggle, but they can be based in hope. They can be based in art, in STEM, and most importantly, based in love.
You inspired me to lead. You inspired me to want to be better. And you taught me so many valuable lessons. And I'm so thankful that I get to go on and teach my friends those lessons and my kids and my family. And big thank you to you. I really appreciate you.
Bella, thank you. But you've always had greatness in you. And I cannot wait to see what you do with your life. The world awaits you, my darling.
Whew. And I got a little dusty in here. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you. Muriel, you're wonderful. We all know you. And guys, get to know Victoria Scott Miller and Liberation Station Bookstore. This amazing woman is going to do amazing things. And we'll send out an email. Believe it or not, those videos are just a little snippet of what we talk to these folks. We're going to send out an email after the event with extended interviews with everybody, so you can actually read some more. But Victoria, Muriel, congratulations. Well deserved. Thank you very much. All right, and so with that, let's give a virtual round of applause to the entire Wake County Schools Hall of Fame class of 2021. And thank you again to all of our Wake County Public School System Hall of Fame sponsors. We really appreciate you. All right, now we're moving into our final two awards for the evening. And I'd like to introduce Elaine Loyak from Delta Dental, who were introduced this year's Vernon Malone Friend of Education Award. Take it away, Elaine. I think you're muted.
Sorry, I had to wait for permission to unmute. I didn't forget this time. I just didn't have the permission.
Okay, you got you. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Keith. And on behalf of the Wake County Partnership Board of Directors and Delta Dental, thank you for joining us this evening. As Vice President for Community Engagement and Government Relations for Delta Dental, a big part of my job is helping guide our efforts to fulfill our mission to improve the oral health and the overall well-being of the communities we serve. For more than 50 years, Delta Dental of North Carolina has provided dental insurance to North Carolinians. Today, we provide dental plans to businesses as a part of their employee benefits and directly to individuals and families. As a not-for-profit insurer, we also invest heavily in our communities. Tonight, we've looked at ways that community and education leaders come together to make a positive impact on children here in Wake County. Through Delta Dental Foundation Smiles for Kids mini grant program, we, for example, invest in oral health education and services for underserved children. Our funding helps to address immediate health needs and provides children with the tools and education that they need to maintain healthy smiles for years to come. In the past 10 years, we've invested more than $512,000 that has provided oral health education and services to more than 334,000 underserved children and families. 71,000 of that has been awarded right here in Wake County. Over the course of their 10 years as a Smiles for Kids grant recipient, Wake County Human Services has used the funding to provide 3,300 sealants to over 750 uninsured and underinsured children. Another investment is our partnership with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. As a member of the Oral Health Section's Perinatal Oral Health Advisory Committee, we work collectively to improve pregnancy outcomes by providing oral health education for pregnant women and their healthcare providers. Which leads me to our next honoree. The Vernon Malone Friend of Education Award is presented by WakeEd Partnership each year to an individual who has demonstrated exceptional commitment to public education and shares the late Senator Vernon Malone's legacy of selfless dedication. The partnership has been presenting this award since 1990 to individuals who share qualities with Senator Malone, who advocated for the ongoing improvement of public education and for all children to have the same opportunities. In his own words, nothing is more important than education. This year, our Vernon Malone Friend of Education honoree has impacted classroom education unlike anyone that has come before. None of us could have imagined the challenges our public schools were to face over the past year and a half and are still facing. We were fortunate to have Dr. Mandy Cohen leading the way as our state's top public health official. Mandy Cohen is a parent and the daughter of an educator, and it's clear she always puts the health and safety of our children, our teachers, and our families first. On behalf of Delta Dental and WakeEd Partnership, we are pleased to recognize Dr. Mandy Cohen, Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, as the 2021 Vernon Malone Friend of Education Award winner. Let's hear from others about her.
For over the past 18 months, we have all watched as day after day, week after week, under immense pressure, constant questions and second guessing, in the midst of a fluid and rapidly changing environment with too often insufficient and sometimes conflicting data, Secretary Cohen, as Governor Cooper's primary advisor, has had to make life-changing decisions that touch every North Carolinian. And yet she's remained calm, confident, focused, and steadfast in thoughtfully facing each new development with a keen awareness of how each decision impacts each individual across our state. If courage is grace under pressure, Secretary Cohen has written a new chapter in Profiles in Courage.
Secretary Cohen is one of the most committed, unflappable leaders I've ever met. She is deeply committed to equity. One of the things she has said to me is we have to be committed to transparency, to measuring disparities, but we can't just admire our disparities. We have to actually do things to address them. So I've particularly enjoyed working for her and her particular commitment to diversity and equity.
Dr. Cohen is really smart. You will not meet a smarter person than Dr. Cohen. She is driven. She is relentless in a good way, relentless in the goal of improving health and well-being. She is mission-driven. She is value-oriented. She articulates that vision, that mission. She assembles a great team and clearly directs them to execute on that mission.
You know, I would say compassionate warrior is, I think, what makes her similar to the late Senator Vernon Malone. They both are steadfast, diligent in their efforts to maintain a high quality of life here in Wake County and statewide, but they also exemplified a caring for the community, for both adults and children, and so compassionate warrior is how I would liken the two.
You know, I think people view Secretary Cohen as a pragmatic, smart, driven leader, and she is all of those things. But one of the things I love about her is that she couples her intelligence and her pragmatism with a strong emotional intelligence. She understands people, she understands politics, she understands when she needs to put pressure on and when she needs to take pressure off. And I remember one particular time, and you know, this COVID response has been very challenging for our department. There have been a lot of really tense and hard moments where we've all been putting in nearly 24/7 hour shifts, including the secretary. And one day I answered my phone and it was her, and she said, "Can I swing by your house?" And I said, "Sure." And she drove by to give me a hug and give me a pastry. And I think people underestimate her ability to really connect emotionally to her team members and the people that she serves. So I really value that about Secretary Cohen.
And from my colleagues on the state board and DPI, and the approximate 1.5 million students we serve every day. Thank you, Secretary Cohen.
All right. Well, Dr. Cohen, we'd like to mess you up before we let you speak. Elaine, I'll let you do the introduction.
All it is, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mandy Cohen.
Well, that was unbelievably wonderful. Thank you so much. I am incredibly, incredibly touched. Keith, thank you to you and Wake Ed. Elaine, thank you at Delta Dental. Thanks to the other Hall of Fame awardees. You had me in tears already, but I can't tell you how touched I was from that video. But I want to say the people you saw in that video are the true folks who should be honored tonight. I first want to thank my teacher in all of this, and you saw her in the videos, Susan Gale Perry, who is just an incredible, incredible leader and has taught me so much. I also want to thank Dr. Betsy Tilson, who you also saw, Walker Wilson, Tracy Zimmerman. And then it's been wonderful to be able to work with Eric Davis. It's been a hard year, Eric, and I just have enjoyed getting to learn from you, work alongside of you. And then Kathy Moore, multiple weekend phone calls and late night phone calls trying to figure this out together. And I'm so grateful. So I share this honor with so many, many more even of that than I've been able to mention. So thank you so much. You know, this year plus 2 years has brought so many teachable moments for ourselves and for our children. And I'm so grateful, particularly to how things were handled in Wake County as a Wake County parent. I think many of you know I have a second grader and a fourth grader who are sitting right off camera right now. And this was a chance for us as we move through these hard times to teach our children what is the world in which we want to be, how do we want to treat each other, how do we think about living science in our day-to-day lives? What does data really mean? And I think it's been really, really hard on everyone, up and down, every family, leadership, staff, teachers, students. But what I have seen over and over is resilience. And I think that we certainly have a lot to recover from. And we have a lot of work to do to make sure that we recover. But I have seen so much resilience, so much support and love between community members here that it makes me so grateful to be part of the Wake County community. Like I said, we have more work to do with getting folks vaccinated. I'm really excited about vaccines becoming available for our 5 to 11-year-olds. So you're going to see us out there making sure we can get folks vaccinated. I hope by starting in November. So that it's coming soon and more work, but that's the kind of work we want to focus on to keep everyone safe and in school and learning. We're going to have to pay attention to important issues like mental health. We've all been through trauma this year. It's been traumatic. And I think it's going to be really important that we pay particular attention to not only our students and the children's mental health, but our own as well as we go through this next step. But as I said, this night is for celebration. I just want to say thank you again to the many, many folks that are on my team who support me and this work every day. Thank you to Wake Ed. This is wonderful. And of course, I just have to say, Governor Hunt, you inspire us. Congratulations on your award and for setting this state off on a path of fantastic investments in education. So it's an honor to be recognized alongside of you. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Congratulations again, Dr. Mandy Cohen. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us tonight. Now, you guys are already said, I've heard people say how inspired you are tonight. And before we introduce our final honoree and speaker, I want to tell you about 2 things you can do with that inspiration right now. The first one is to simply say thank you. Each year at our in-person Stars of Education Gala, maybe next year, we had a segment called Stars Among Us, where we would ask all educators, current and former, to stand. But we also had postcards on every table where you could handwrite a simple note of appreciation to a Wake County teacher that you know, or just to any teacher, and we take those and deliver those. Well, tonight and after the event, we're going to provide an easy digital way for you to do that. Right now on the screen, there's a QR code. If you put your phone's camera on it, it will take you to a web page where you can write a digital thank you card, and we'll take care of the rest. Now, if you don't want to scan now, and I get that, we'll email the instructions out to you with a link after the program. The second way that you can do something tangible is by helping support Wake Ed Partnership's newest project called Tools for Schools. Now, some of you may have heard about it on WREL or in the News and Observer. It's modeled after successful efforts in other communities like Charlotte, Greensboro, and many countless cities across the country, where we'll essentially open a store full of classroom supplies where Wake County teachers can shop for free. The supplies will be purchased through donations and through direct donations of the school supplies from companies, groups, and individuals. Now, to really launch this effort tonight, I have some incredibly exciting news to share with you. The Four Others Foundation has agreed to match all donations to Tools for Schools starting today up to $50,000. So any donation you make to help us stock the store with brand new high demand items for teachers and students will be doubled. The QR code on the screen will take you directly to a page to make a donation. We'll also include that information in that same follow-up email to all attendees. So thank you, Four Others Foundation, and all of you who make a donation. Now, our final award of the night is not one that we give every year. It is the Robert E. Bridges Lifetime Achievement Award. It is given to an individual who has dedicated their life to public education and has made significant contributions to public education in schools. It is named in honor of former Wake County Schools Superintendent, Dr. Robert Bridges. Now, as some of you may know, Dr. Bob Bridges passed away on September 12th. Many of you knew Bob, worked with Bob over the years. I had the good fortune of knowing him myself. He was Wake County's first Black superintendent, but really he played a key role long before that in the desegregation of our schools when Raleigh City Schools merged with Wake County Schools. He actually started his teaching career at Hunter, which at that point was one of the all-Black schools in downtown Raleigh. Now, beyond the many friends and family who will miss him dearly, we know that Robert Bridges leaves behind a tremendous legacy. He was a great man and a gentle man. This year's Robert Bridges Lifetime Achievement Award is sponsored by SAS. I know Ann Goodnight is on with us tonight. Ann, thank you so much. We appreciate your family and SAS's continued support of public education here in Wake County. So thank you, Ann. Now, it's difficult to imagine, for me, another individual who's had a more positive, greater impact on education in this state than Jim Hunt. Governor Hunt continues to inspire and challenge North Carolinians to do more and to work together for our state, for our schools, and for our children. Now, I think Governor Hunt already knows how much we love him and how much we appreciate him. And I can tell you, I am personally so honored to be part of this tonight. But we do have some folks who wanted to say a few words about Governor Hunt. And so Governor hasn't seen these yet, so let's all take a look at this video together.
I know of no one who is more deserving of an honor like he is receiving here than Governor Hunt. It is clear that public education, the health and well-being of all North Carolinians, but particularly those that are engaged in our public school system, has been a priority throughout his life.
I just thought I would talk a little about my dad, Governor Jim Hunt. He is a person who epitomizes public servancy. He is not a politician, he is a public servant. He was brought up by a teacher. His mom was a teacher and a librarian. His wife, my mom, is also a teacher. They volunteered every week in public schools with students who were in need of support. And they saw, through having 4 children of their own and working with children at the schools, just how important it is to make sure our public schools are great. So while he was governor, he dedicated himself to making sure people on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, came to understand the importance of funding public education. We know there's a direct link between poverty and the lack of success in school. So Dad understood that. He was determined to break that cycle, and he did everything he could to make sure everyone understood it and to bring programs to North Carolina to really make us the public school mecca that we were when he was governor. So we have to get that back. Several of us in the General Assembly are fighting every day for that. And we know, we understand, and we have spread the word with things like our Early Education Caucus, which is bipartisan, that the first years of life are the most important, and you can't get that back. So if you leave that on the table, children will never catch up. So he has got his fingers in all the pies all over the country and the state, and he's helped make lives of children, students, teachers, parents, and everyone in the state much, much better. And he continues to work on all these things. He is not sitting at home doing nothing. He is thinking every day. He questions me every day about what's happening in the legislature and what he can do to help. So he still cares fervently about the people of North Carolina and the students and the children.
We certainly don't have enough time to go through the entire list of his accomplishments in public education, both here in Wake County and across the state. But one that stands out for me would be the vision that he had around Smart Start, to make sure that every child in North Carolina had the opportunity to come to school healthy and ready to learn. And at the time that that idea was germinating, there was very little data to support the notion, or at least to prove the material impact that early childhood interventions could make on the educational career of a child or a student, and certainly the health and all of the other components that go into educational success. So formulating that idea, building a proposal, creating political will, and then working with leaders across North Carolina, including the General Assembly, to put that program in place continues to serve untold hundreds of thousands of students in our state, and it has been emulated elsewhere.
You know, I've traveled a fair amount around the country, and everywhere I've gone, as soon as I say I'm from North Carolina, the first question, do you know Jim Hunt? And of course my answer is, everybody knows Jim Hunt, but I know him well. And of course I'm in education, so obviously why would they be asking me that unless they related him to the education arena? So anywhere in America I've gone to every state except one. I haven't gone to South Dakota. Everywhere I've gone, somebody has asked me about him. So even if I didn't know him personally, the word education would trigger the thought of Jim Hunt as governor and as a human being.
Governor Hunt is known throughout North Carolina as well as the nation as being an education governor. He is so deserving of this award because of his long-time effort to improve public education. Governor Hunt has so many special qualities, one of which is to make you feel better after seeing him than before you did. And one quality of Governor Hunt is his optimism. In practically every speech I've heard him give, and I've heard many from Governor Hunt, he always says, we can do this, North Carolina. And so he makes you feel as if you as an individual and you as a community and you as a state can do great things, especially for our children. He also is a note writer, and I have been fortunate enough to get many notes from Governor Hunt, congratulatory notes, notes of advice, and sometimes he would give me advice for which I had not asked, but that was just fine because he is full of wisdom and understands the political system in our state. He understands public education. So he's a man of many wonderful qualities, and North Carolina and Wake County are so fortunate to have him as a very distinguished leader.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the education governor, Governor Jim Hunt.
Well, how about that? Folks, I'm amazed and so proud of all of you tonight who are now giving the great education leadership to this state. Carolyn and I spent a lot of years in Wake County. We live now on our farm in Wilson County, but I served as governor, as folks know, for 4 terms. Nobody else has done that. But all of our time was about education. And education led to economic development and jobs and opportunities. North Carolina became known as an education state and is one of the very best ones in the whole nation. And I am now so very proud of what's going on in our state and the role that the Wake Education Partnership is playing. You all are doing a great job, and I want you to know how proud I am of you. Everybody who's been on this program tonight, I've been looking at you and thinking about you. So proud of what you're doing. So proud of what Mandy's doing and working with the governor and all of what we've been through. But I want to say to all of you tonight how thankful I am for your lives and how proud I am of your leadership. The Wake Ed Partnership is special, folks. We've got public education across America. And I have, over the years, given education speeches and done education things in most of the states of America. But I always took the North Carolina education message with me everywhere I went, about our people, about how we cherished and valued our public schools, how we invested in them, how we worked in them. I was so proud tonight to hear all of you all talking about the various things that you're doing. But I remember how much Carolyn Hunt, my good wife, and how much I, as governor, worked as volunteers in our schools. And we did that. Carolyn Hunt went every week to volunteer in the Wake County Public Schools. I did the same thing as governor. And we're just completely aware of how important the schools are. During my years as governor, and remember I was governor for 2 terms and then went out and came back for 2 more terms. So that was over a course of 24 years. The Wake County schools were getting better and better. More and more people involved in them. More and more people are helping raise the funds. I'm so proud of SAS and our good friends who are on here tonight. That it's been an example of what a people can do when they really believe in each other, care about each other, and work hard to help each other. Now, the Wake Ed Partnership is something very special. If we just depended on government to put the resources in and so forth, that would be one thing. But when you have everybody joining up to focus on it and to tell the stories of it and to encourage people to be involved in it and work together the way that you're doing it with the Wake Ed Partnership, that's when things really begin to happen in a big, big way. You're doing that in Wake County. And I am so very, very proud of you and proud to be a part of this tonight. As I said, we had two of our children, all four of our children are public school graduates, and we're proud of them. But two of them graduated from Broughton High School in Wake County. One of them is Ambassador Baxter Hunt, a United States ambassador, and the other one is Rachel Hunt, a member of the state legislature who was on here tonight. We're proud of them, and we're proud of all of our children and all of the things that you all are doing. So tonight, I want to thank you and commend you all. If you want to have great schools, you have to go the extra mile. Yes, you want to get the appropriations. The legislature needs to be putting more money into the schools. We need to put more in at the local level too. I think more is going to be coming in from other sources, even from the federal government. But you have to work at it. You have to stick with it. You have to find other people to help you out. And the Wake Ed Partnership is about that job. So tonight, I want to tell you all how much I appreciate this honor, how proud I am of you. I'm 84 years old now, but I still believe in public education in our schools more than ever before. I want you all to keep giving us leadership there in Wake County. Keep showing what excellence is and helping all of our children become the best that they can be. Thank you for this honor tonight. Keith, I thank you for your leadership and everybody in the Wake Ed Partnership. We have great things ahead. I know we've been through a tough time and things are still tough, but we can do it. And the best single thing we can do is to be involved with our public schools and help our children become all that they can be, all that they should be, all that they must be. In Wake County, with the help of the Wake Ed Partnership, you are doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Governor. It's an honor to have you here. Appreciate those kind words. I think it was June Atkinson who said on the video that every time you talk to Governor Hunt, you feel better and you feel like you can get things done. And that's certainly how I feel every time I get the chance to see you. So thank you. So I want to congratulate Governor Hunt again. I want to thank Dr. Mandy Cohen and our class of 2021 Hall of Fame inductees who joined us this evening. I want to thank Pinnacle again for being our presenting sponsor. And please do keep your eye on your inbox after the program. Watch those extended interviews with our Hall of Fame inductees. You think you were crying before. These are good stuff, so take a look at those. You can also send a special message to an educator. We'll make sure they get it. If you just want to send a message to any teacher, we'll make sure that teachers see them. And then finally, reminder that the For Others Foundation is going to be doubling any donation you make to Tools for Schools so we can provide the supplies that our teachers and students so desperately need. So with that, thank you. I would say walk safely home since you're already at home. Thank you for spending part of your evening with us, and thank you for your support and your engagement with public schools. Thank you so much.